recording. Hopefully there's sound. I'll guess. Anyway, quite muddy still raining, sort of. So, another day, same old, as they say. Anyway, fuck that word. Yeah, I have to say fuck that word, I think. Every time I say the word, I'll just say fuck that word. And they'll try to slow me down, maybe. Alright, so I was reading some of the comments on the Laura Layla suicide, Professor Anton also, and haven't really gotten through all this crap. So much to do, so little time to do it. Anyway, there's these same old characters pop up. You know, the Skyzors, they're just the same people. And then there's this new guy, Dr. Dissent. And, he's one of these strict nihilist types who, doesn't think suffering matters, which is, it's a non-starter. Might as well be arguing with a cardboard box. Nothing's that stupid. But it's this whole idea of people making arguments in the comments section that the person who made the original video that you're responding to, or that is making the video that people are commenting on, wouldn't even endorse. So, I mean, it's sort of bizarre. I mean, I tend to delete comments that are made for my side in a stupid or ignorant way on my videos. I tend to. I mean, I don't do it as a rule. Just if I see a comment that, like, we should just kill the fuckers or something stupid, you say, fuck, I don't want that in my video. I mean, that's not the argument being made here. And so it just doesn't belong. And, the context of this conversation is just not going to exist in any rational sense between people who believe suffering matters and people who believe it doesn't matter. It's about weight given to it. They're not arguing that suffering doesn't matter. They're just arguing that it doesn't matter enough. And that in this circumstance it doesn't matter enough. And because there really is no point I can't have a rational conversation with somebody who doesn't value a sentient organism in distress. So anyway, another argument he made was just idiotic. So he's a hard determinist, which I am. But it's just, when you see people, so here he is on my side on that subject, but he completely misunderstands what determinism is. And he's complaining because people are arguing, as if arguing is not, as if it's fruitless, as if it has nothing to do with how something happens in the world, that people never have an argument before the world changes. I mean, it's just insane. Or that somehow the world would change if people didn't have the argument. If they never went to the store, somehow the food would get on their cupboard. I mean, it's that kind of idiocy. It's like, no, the conversation is part of the determinism, you idiot. The future doesn't happen without it. So it's integral. Part of the determinism is first that the idea occurs to somebody, like let's say when the radon was discovered by Madame Curie, right? First the idea has to occur to them that there's this element that exists, and then they have to go through a procedure and all this other crap to find it. They can't just say it's there, period, now I'll walk away. No, it's part of the determinism of the proof that they have to go through the process. And the process of change is conversation. Sometimes change is war, sometimes change is a lot of other things, but certainly one could argue that arguing is a fundamental part of change. And so to make an argument, people shouldn't argue, or that people shouldn't talk about it. And then under the guise of, well, determinism says so, it's going to happen anyway. Well, no, it isn't going to happen anyway. It's just stupid to say it's going to happen anyway. It's going to happen if a process happens. So arguing is often integral to the process happening. It's a requirement. It's a necessity. So you're just dissenting from reality, idiot. You're a doctor of reality aversion. That's all you're a doctor of. Um, so there's so much of this same old crap that keeps coming up. Another comment I saw was, even though I've talked about it, this idea that, well, life will reborn, remake itself, or exist somewhere else in the universe. Well, who cares? This is like we're arguing about whether we should spill a bucket of slop on the floor. Now, the fact that there's slop over there really doesn't have anything to do with our bucket of slop. And the fact that once we don't spill our slop, the fact that it may be spilled in the future sometime doesn't change the fact that it's a good idea not to spill it now and to have a whole big pile of time with no slop on the floor. So it's just the argument makes no sense, even if you concede your ludicrous premise that it would do this coming back thing anyway, when you have absolutely no evidence of that. And so this is the Skyzer imbecility you get to now, is where they set up this brick wall that, until I give him a videotape and a signed statement from God, apparently, that says, no, life is a one in a gazillion perfect storm. It doesn't happen everywhere. In fact, never happened anywhere. And, there was that one planet, Ukambukandunk, where DNA was actually created, but it didn't do the blueprint thing right. There was no chemical to read the blueprint, and so it never evolved into anything. It just replicated and replicated and replicated, but it couldn't evolve because there was no machinery to record the replications and to create the mutations and the changes. Whatever. I mean, it's just a stupid conversation. So I can't argue with non-facts, and it's completely a non-fact. It's a non-theory, even. There's nothing it's based on. There's as much evidence for other Earths out in the universe as there is for a God. Zero. Nothing. That's it. There's none. One event proves nothing. It provides evidence of nothing. It's useless. It's like rolling dice and taking your first roll and then concluding the dice always roll that number. No, that's not how it works. It's not even a good example, because it's basically taking dice that could have any number of numbers on them. I mean, if you roll infinite dice, you're going to have a real problem coming up with a duplicate. Yeah, it's certainly not going to be something that's guaranteed. That's for damn sure. If you got infinite numbers on the dice, yeah, go figure that one out in your head. So where to go? Yeah, so I can't do anything with. Obviously, that's a bias built out of a want, a projection. It's a wishful thinking bias, and there's not much I can do to argue with it except point out that scientifically and mathematically, there's no rules of probability that allow you to draw that kind of a conclusion from one event. It's just not sensible or meaningful. It's not the scientific way. So you can only do it as a bullshitter, as a fuck-upper, as a make-crap-upper. I don't have a huge obligation to argue with completely irrational, made-up mumbo-jumbo. So I think that's enough. Go for a little run, and maybe more later, or maybe not. See how things go and such. It to be a different camera though. Once this one goes underwater, the sound gets pretty unreliable. Flowers. I don't want to know what the stream looks like, but the other one was fine, so yeah, I'll be okay. Pretty big difference from yesterday. If you saw that video. Stream's back to its, well, still a little high, but something clearer, normal, closer to. Anyway, big difference. Back to the thing. Such a thing. I'll add a couple of comments to this video. Just from a John Doran video. This guys are spouting some stuff here, and we'll see how far we get. I don't want to do too much of this. This argument is based upon opinion, not facts. Well, the facts of evolution and whatnot, it's stated as a premise of the argument. So again, if you don't accept the premises, the point is that, yeah, we have nothing to discuss. You're an idiot, an imbecile. I'll see you in hell, so to speak. Okay, one of us is going down eventually. One of us is going to the boneyard eventually. One of us will be on the ash heap of the truth. Yeah. In order to do so would require proof of what you're saying to be true. Well, the proofs are been made, and they're logical proofs. You just add up the circumstance, and the logic is quite glaring. It's just like the proof that there's no God. Well, the proof that there's no purpose or function for life is a proof that's built out of logic, when the evidence is not the case. Just because humans come along and notice a thing called pain, yeah, well, I don't know. That's a silly way to describe the function of revulsion, unsettling, uncomfortable sensation. Obviously, it's intent and purpose. It didn't notice a thing called it. It created a thing called it. It's a manifestation of our consciousness. It's not in all consciousnesses. It's just in certain, I mean, all animals. It's in certain tiny percentage of the life on planet Earth possesses this consciousness mechanism, this ability to feel and then react to the feelings created. But it's clearly a mechanism intended to control behavior. It's still part of the reflexive organism. Living things are basically reflexive organisms. As soon as they learn how to reproduce, they learn how. As soon as they become reproductive, the first evolutionary feature is going to be the things that's going to distinguish one from another, that's going to make one capable of winning the battle, is positive to more behavior, more conducive to survival, and that behavior is going to be created by reflexes. It started with chemistry, and then it became electrical, and then it became, for us, consciousness, because of what I would call a two-brain system, one brain creating a world for the other brain to live in. I know this thing called pain does not mean life is any less of a function of our universe. So you're calling something a function, as if life is serving a purpose, as if it's a wheel on a car. It's not doing any of those things. It has no function or purpose. It serves no utility. The universe will run without it fine. You can't use the word function to describe something that doesn't do anything. It's not a functional part. It's like a decal on a bumper. And we're just a squiggly line decal. So it's no purpose, no message, no anything. Let alone the fact that we have no idea what life is yet. Well, this again is just nonsense. We've done a ton of good science. We know what we've discovered the elements. We've discovered a lot of the physics. We understand what bacteria are. We understand how deep life goes. And we know how deep the history goes in terms of time and evolution. To say that we don't know what life is, no, we know what it is. It's a replicating DNA molecule. And yet somehow you seem to profess that you do like Gary calling us chemical scum, as it were. This is, I don't know who this is to, but of course people like Derived Energy, who you were responding to with the other one. But yeah, well, I don't know, it's just to John Paul Doran. We are a mechanical process, like scum, like anything else on this planet that's alive. We have certain features and functions. We have those functions. If you can provide me with how the scum came to be alive, I'm all eyes. I don't know what that is. It's not going to be something visual, likely. The scum became alive. Scum is alive. Scum is derived from living material.
But regardless, the process is abiogenesis. That's our origin. You just keep going back, back, back. We can see the progression. And yeah, we have to fill in the missing pieces. We have to, like the little bits of a dinosaur skeleton, we fill in the rib that might be missing or the toe that might be missing, because we can figure it and we can approximate how that works, and we can approximate abiogenesis. We can understand that it all did start with one molecule. That we can know from the chemistry. We can know it's one molecule. And I'm guessing you can't. Do you know why that is, derived energy? You should put a question mark. Because shocking as this may seem to you as part of reality you profess to know so well and understand, we don't know what life is. Well, again, we do know what life is. You can say it in capitals that we don't, but we know an awful lot. And you're just saying that because we don't have a videotape of abiogenesis, you can make up anything you want. And that's all you're doing. I've put it to you. If I give you a videotape, if the truth is, then what would your response to that truth be? If the truth is, it's just as I've described it. It's a chemical sea. A very bizarre circumstance takes place where a lightning strike and a bubble of water and a bit of protein all combine in the same moment, and it creates it locks together a DNA molecule with the mechanical structure that reads the DNA molecule, that has its own attraction to the molecule for that reason, because it's attracted to the chemistry of the molecule, but at the same time it does zip it. It unzips it, and it creates the process for there to be a replication. But there's 4 or 5 parts that had to come together. It's a perfect storm kind of mechanism, and if it turns out to be the truth that it is preposterously, insanely unlikely event, like for example, every kind of dinosaur that existed 300 million years ago, every single variety stepping in the same place in one day, the same rock, stepping on the same rock. Let's say 90% of the dinosaur species stepping on the same rock in one day. What would the odds against it be? What would be the odds of a bear eating a coyote that ate a fox, that ate a rabbit, that all were born on the 4th of July? What would be the odds of that? Yeah, that's right. Impossible. We just about know how it works, you plunker. So that's a new one, plunker. It's like I guess that's like a plank. Whatever, you're just such an idiot. Alright, so John responded to him in some manner or other. And the one other thing, pain is not going up, it always stays the same regardless of the numbers. If one person feels pain out of one whatever, that pain would be the same as 1 million and just one not feeling it. Yes, that means as the higher the population goes, the more suffering there is. Duh. Because it is a subjective thing, not something you can quantify with growth of population, or that a life itself, or that of life itself, or whatever. I mean, you can keep saying it's a subjective thing. Its reality is not a subjectively debatable issue. It's not a subjective interpretation. The fact that it exists, the fact that I exist, that I feel, is, in my opinion, not disputable reality. It's not a disputable theory. I do exist, I do feel. If you can't accept that premise, we have nothing to discuss. We have nothing to talk about. See you on the battlefield. Pain would therefore remain a constant part of life as an average. Wink. I don't know what that means. Well, the fact that there are all kinds of degrees and levels of suffering is just another fact. I mean, if you're going to reject the truth that it's better not to die of smallpox than it is to die of smallpox, then you're an idiot. I'd rather die of boredom than smallpox. The whole argument, no matter how you try to spin this, is life worth anything in the universe? Well, fact is we cannot answer that question no matter what you think. So saying again in capitals doesn't change the fact that your argument is nonsense. You say we can't answer the question. Again, we can answer the question beyond reasonable doubt. You're not giving me an alternative theory. You're just saying your theory is no good. You can't know for sure or something. Well, I'm saying, no, all the evidence points to this theory. All the evidence validates it. You don't have a counter-argument of some counter-possibility. So unless you start detailing exactly what your unicorn looks like, I don't have any obligation to respond to you besides saying you have no argument. You have no counter-argument. You have no evidence of your claim that we don't know. Gary, Derived Energy, Heron Church, and the rest are just depressed because they do not like the reality we live in. Depressed is just a silly way to discuss this subject. Some days I'm depressed, some days I'm not. My depression is a personal thing. I find life depressing for lots of reasons. Certainly the fact that it has no purpose and has no function is a big part of that. But I still would find life, even if somebody wrote me a blueprint of a purpose it served. Well, I don't know, without being able to know what the purpose would be. I'd still say pass. I mean, I don't see any possibility of creating any kind of image of a golden pot that's worth any of this. It's all just nonsense. Get over it. Okay, well, I mean, I don't even know what to say to something like that. I mean, it's useless, but it goes beyond just being a useless remark. I could just say that to you. I could say, what, you don't like that we think you're a piece of scum? Well, get over it. I mean, what you're going to get over is, like I said, you're going to be on the ass ship of history. And so you're going to have to get over that. You're a failure, and a loser, and a moron, and a retard, a menace to intelligence. Yeah. We can know end life in the universe. We can know end life in the universe. I guess not. End life in the universe. So he says this in caps, like he has some sort of evidence that there's other life in the universe, although there's no evidence of any such life. I mean, this is just pull it out of his ass bullshit. Nonsense. Some people need a logic slap. Well, where's your logic? Universe, life, reality, not ego, ponder, and leave logic out. Sheesh. Whatever that means. Again, this is just bullshit. You're making up facts that don't exist. There's no evidence of any other life in the universe. There's no evidence that there's been any more than one replicating cells in the whole history of the universe. One creation of a replicating cell. Let's see. Derived Energy responds, well, I'm not clinically depressed, but there are literally tens of millions of people right now who are. You shouldn't claim somebody is depressed if they aren't. If I ever take a single day off work due to depression, I'll let you know, and then you can debate it further. The worst case of depression can be more torturous than physical agony. That's why some people actually burn themselves or cut their arm to distract their mind. Just depressed. Yeah, again, it's not just about being depressed. I mean, it's obvious if you realize you live in a universe that's stupid, it's going to make you depressed. It's going to take the edge off. If you realize that you're on a planet full of assholes and idiots who have no respect for the truth and no respect for logic like you guys are, it's fucking depressing. I'm depressed to live in a world with assholes as big as you. Well, if that's the case, I guess you should take it up with Gary, as he stated in his video on Stickam that yes, AN are depressed once they come to understand how life is harsh. I said it's depressing. Again, you're the one making an accusation that this is somehow significant. I think every human being on earth has been depressed at one point or another in their life. So, I mean, I'm just acknowledging that there's no crime in being depressed. Idiot. I just said what Gary stated. Now, you perverted it in an attempt to make an argument out of it. You said the reason why we're anti-natalists is because we're depressed. And that is a fucking slander, you fucking prick. Well, you're not a prick, you're a cunt. The fact that you seem to think that we are somehow dumb because we cannot see pain in life as moronic, to say the least, let alone stupid. Because we can't see pain in life as moronic. You say you are better off if you are dead. No, I say that I don't think anybody has a right to impose the risk that life is not a guaranteed win. That is quite, in fact, dangerous and messy and sloppy, and it doesn't accomplish anything, that it can't accomplish anything. You say you are better off if you're dead, or did not exist to begin with. Well, that's the good one, yes. I would have been better off dead, not existing. Only problem, there is no you to apply better to, is there? No. Well, whatever. For the purpose of conversation, there isn't me. I have a physical form. My consciousness is possessed inside of this mechanism. It's created by this mechanism. And if you believe something else, and again, that's a premise I can't indulge in. That's a non-starter, it's called. It's a non-starter if you believe consciousness is something other than a manifestation of brain energy, the manipulation of electricity inside a billions of cells deep biological neurology. That's where my consciousness is created. That's where it exists. So, fuck you. Anyway, enough.